Hi, this is Brandon from thirstgym.com. Today we're talking about an exercise called the reverse band safety squat bar box squat. This is a fantastic way to overload your system, get some really heavy weights on it, build that upper back specifically towards your squat, and also build some starting strength out of the hole as well with the box squat. So first thing we're talking about is the reverse band setup. So for the bands, I have them choked around my band pegs at the top, basically making a giant triangle and then pulling it down to the sleeve of the bar. The other option you have, you don't have band pegs, is you can just choke it to the top part of your rack and then pull it down, and that's another way that you can do it. With our rack, this is very simple, it's easy to do. I think it's very easy, especially if you're working with different training partners. I will say that very, very tall individuals will get far less tension than short people like myself. So just keep that in mind. The big thing is if you're going to use a variation like this and you're going to track it in your own training, is that you're just consistent with how you set it up, and that's probably the number one thing I can suggest. And when it comes to picking a band tension that's going to help you, you want something that's going to make a noticeable change. So I'll be honest that if I was going to be training, I probably would not use a mini band. I would probably use something like some light bands or some gray bands or averages from Elite FTS to get a pretty drastic change from the bottom to the top. But with that being said, mini bands can also be great. It's just to let you feel a new PR, maybe the week before you take a PR. So you got some options there as well. You will need a safety squat bar, and you will need a box squat box of some kind for this particular variation. Now, we've got the band set up. I've got my box squat. Basically, I'm just going to perform a safety squat bar box squat, and I just have the bands on here to help me. So as I go down, the bands are going to get more tension put on them, therefore my body is going to feel less weight, and then as I stand up, I'm going to feel more load at the top. Just remember that bands actually pull, so they actually are going to try to help me out of the bottom just a little bit. So if you're working on trying to come out of the bottom very explosively, I think it's better to try to go against bands. If you're trying to overload what you're having on your back when you're walking it out, when you're just standing with the weights on your back, I think a safety or a reverse band setup is a preferred method. So what I'm going to do is here, I'm going to get underneath the weight, grab the handles, feet underneath my hips, unrack it, good quality steps, make sure my feet are wider than my hips, and then what I'm going to make sure I can do is I can feel my heels, I can feel the lateral sides of my feet, I can feel my big toe, my pinky toe, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a big breath of air into my midsection, and then I'm going to sit back and down to the box and then come up strong. So here we go. Then rack. So you can see it's not overly complicated. As you get heavier, it's obviously not going to look that pretty. But the big thing we're trying to focus on, good quality stop on the box. As I sit down, I want to own that position. Make sure I stay good and tight on the box. My knees are pushed out. I can feel my whole foot on the ground. My knees are not in front of my toes with the box squat, so we don't want to be like this. We want to make sure that our knees pretty much about over our ankles, give or take, and then we've obviously got the bar here. And when I go to come back on the box, I don't want to rock too far back. One, I'm going to hit the post here, but also I don't want to get that good tuck underneath my butt when I'm on the box with all that weight. I want to make sure I'm in a good, strong position here in the bottom where I'm not necessarily sticking my butt out, but I'm just in a good, strong position ready to go. So that is the reverse band safety squat bar box squat. When it comes to programming, if you're a West Side or conjugate kind of guy, this is probably a great 1 rep max or max effort variation for you. I would not do this for any kind of dynamic effort work. This could be a supplemental movement, so if you happen to be somebody that pitches forward really bad, when it comes to handling heavier weights, you just don't have that confidence, and the safety squat bar with the reverse bands can be great for that because this bar really tries to pitch you forward. So I would say for the most part, if you hear somebody that gets dumped forward a lot in your squat, especially with heavier weights, this is a fantastic variation for you, but it also makes sure that you're being good, consistent on your depth, and you're building some strength out of the bottom as well. So think of this more as heavier work, 1, 2, 3 rep max, or you're going to do like some 5s and 6s as your supplemental work to aid your traditional back squat variation of work that you might be having in your training program. So if you got any questions, please feel free in the comment section. Thanks. Have a great day.